Oh, your offering part. Okay. She's asking offering, the 8 offering. She's wanted to know those water offerings are. Actually, the 8 offering, it goes kind of like this. Water, 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 flower, incense, lamp, light, then water, then food, and then music. Okay? So her question is, I guess you know the first water, yeah? And the second and the third water, what are those? That's her question. Actually, interesting. This is coming from ancient Indian, possibly Vedic ritual traditions, when dignitaries arrive, ancient dignitaries, maybe the weather was hot, whatever. First water is a cooling water. Kind of like, right now we have a cooler. Cooler is based on water vapor, kind of, If it's dry weather, cooler works very well. Swamp cooler, And it's water vapor, right? Idea was kind of like that, I think. The understanding is in ancient dignitaries, kings and very great beings come, and then they will, how do you say, the front of them, big water like this, I don't know how do you call this in English, but how do you call the big ball of water, and then you kind of like let it fall right in front, and then it will create a vapor, huh?
Waterfall, like mist.
Little waterfall, yeah. You create a little waterfall right in the front, somehow, and then kind of cools in. That's the first water, first water offering. And the second water offering is offering water, washing feet washing water. Yeah, interesting. There are stories, in Diamond Sutra in Vajrayana Sutra in Sanskrit, Diamond Sutra, Jinggang Jing in Chinese, and then Dorje Chöpe Do in Tibetan, okay? In Diamond Sutra, there's a story when the Buddha first arrived, Buddha's one of his famous patrons' place. Buddha had one of his follower, disciple, devotee, was one of the wealthiest men in India at that time, and so devoted to Buddha. And he built this beautiful entire place for Buddha and his sanghas. So Buddha arrived in his place, and then they wash his feet. Story like that, So, in Theravadan tradition, right now, if you see monks in Thai, Burmese, and Sri Lanka tradition, when they go out for alms begging, they walk in barefoot, Yeah. Ultimately, the idea of renunciation, right? Not attached to anything, walk like that. So, in today's, in terms of people who are attached to so much image stuff, it doesn't look good. It looks like barefoot, kind of like homeless guy type of thing, right? Anyway, why I mention this is Buddha also, our Buddha, perfect Buddha, must have walked barefoot. Because the Vajrayana Sutra, Diamond Sutra, has stories the Buddha walked and Buddha's foot were washed. Like that. And actually, that's the second offer, foot washing sutra. And actually, I saw in Thai tradition, senior monks arrive, junior monks wash their feet. Yeah, when they arrive, go outside and the feet is dirty. When they enter into temple, wash, and then this junior monk has to serve and wash their feet and then dry them, things like that. It's part of tradition, part of seniority thing too. Vinaya is that. Vinaya is very interesting. Vinaya, it's a seniority. whoever is senior and the junior monk has to serve, so to speak. That kind of thing. The second water is feet water, okay? Then the third is flower, and the fourth is incense. 5 is lamp, light offering, light. Usually light is a symbol of wisdom, light that illumines the darkness, ignorant, not understanding. See, the light, the purpose of light like that, So is flower, incense, These are all like sense field based, beautiful flower, how flower grows, cause condition, how beautiful, It's very pleasing to your eyes, and then positive, pleasant, pleasing to eyes, then you say, I offer, offering, right? And then incense, smell, nice, beautiful smell, beautiful aroma, and makes you feel good. You see, that's why there's a multi-billion-dollar perfume industry exists because of that, you see. And then light offering. Then the next is water offering, and that's the drinking water. Okay? Yeah. It's, people make, this is the one that sometimes people make mistake by thinking it's, in English translation, it says sainted water, and they think that's the same. It's not, just means even the drinking water smells good. That's all it means. But actually, it's drinking water. Yeah. Then, after food, then is music, then entertainment. Interesting, huh? Yeah. And there's a major, state dinners, like White House, and then Queen of England, in the Windsor Castle. I saw some of those documentary videos on these royal dinner that are host, like in Windsor Castle, how they host dinner for foreign dignitaries like President of the United States and so on. Then there's a huge whole thing, is big ceremony, like there are all kinds of arrangement, who does what, seating arrangement, this, that, food. Incredible, the chefs and all organizers have to prepare for weeks for that dinner. Then the reason why I'm mentioning is after dinner, there's entertainment. That's the last offering. Our offerings say water, flower, incense, light, and then drinking water, sainted water. It says, actual text says sainted water. Food and music. Last one is music, entertainment. You have to entertain. You see, even at the mundane level, the royal families and kings and queens and all, there's always this entertainment. Interesting, huh? My take on all these things is, see, there's always two sides to it. You can have an enlightened side to it, and then just an ordinary side. That's how I see it. Everything. Yeah. Including political movements and so on, Yeah. It's fascinating, Like Mother Tara, story of Mother Tara, how I see it as Mother Tara is Bodhisattva aspiration, is an enlightened women's right movement. I'm not kidding. I really see it that way, So this is my personal interpretation. There's a thing called women's right, in this world right now. If you're a Dharma practitioner, somebody who understands Dharma, at first glance, it looks like just a lot of attachment, why you have to be particularly attached to woman's body or men's body. This is looks like just generally a lot of attachment-based thing, right? It's attachment if you just really attach and you hate There are very vicious women's right movement leaders. I saw, just full of hatred towards men and others, like that. That's a samsara. People can fight for their rights, but nothing honorable, right? But Tara has, my point is, Tara, Bodhisattva vows, when she first understood Dharma correctly, Bodhisattva path correctly, then initially it started with her female attachment body. Somebody else told, and the story goes like this. She was some long time ago, and many eons and eons and eons ago, before she was enlightened, right? So, in a particular kingdom, how first her vows came about was that she was a daughter, a princess, and she's very devout and extraordinary. Her, a virtuous character, extraordinary, and she's such a wonderful Dharma practitioner. And as somebody else told her by initially praising her, it's like, wow, you're doing so good, you're doing so good at Dharma, and you're so wonderful. Why don't you make aspiration? Next life, you'll be born as a man. Somebody told her that. And then that she didn't like, actually. She didn't like that, that kind of condescending little biased, sexist type of comment. And initial reaction was, no, I'm going to be, I'm not going to make an aspiration to be born as a man in next lives. No. And then she held on to her thing, and then it became pure. That's the thing. See? Then she had came some courage as she realized so many female sentient beings, so difficult. I shall take a vow, Bodhisattva vow, to serve all mother sentient being in a female form until I attain Buddhahood. She took that vow, and then she worked tirelessly, and then for that courageous motivation of hers, it's been said that the Buddhas of the 10 direction praise her so much that, that you are one of the only ones who had this much courage to do that, so on and so on. So my main point is, like, everything can have positive and negative side. This is how I see it. Yeah. Including dictatorship, you remember? You can have a enlightened dictatorship, and you can have a disgusting samsaric dictatorship, like that, right? Yeah. Offering food and music. Drink and eat, and then entertain. Yeah. I heard even today some of these rituals, Vedic rituals in India, when they have the holy masters, like their holy Shankaracharya, whatever, they would come. They physically make these offerings. They have this ritual offerings still physically do this water, little, create a small waterfall, wash their feet, offer flower, incense, and then light offering, then drinking of food. Physically actually make offering like that. In some of this Vedic rituals, they still do that.
When I saw Amma one time, they did that. They had flower petals, they washed her feet, then they saved the water and they gave it to her closest friend.
Dalai Lama said one time he went to some Indian place. Dalai Lama said that. It was some Indian place, and they did that to him. Dalai Lama said that. Yes, my dear.
days we are cooking war for day and joke. And they have a question concerning the false silence. Some pay never, she went out with Babu. False silence. Will you teach return or false silence?
She wants to know if you can teach about
Sound vibration didn't arrive here correctly. What?
you can teach about the four silences.
What?
Four silence. Four silence.
For silence? What? For silence?
In the full prayer,
For prayer.
it talks about the four silences
Of Brahma.
of Brahma.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? It says for silent?
Four silences of Brahma.
No, I know. The translation says for silent?
Some pay, they
Read that translation correctly. Brahma.
You say it in Tibetan.
And I'm talking about the translation. I don't need Tibetan. Tsangbe Nepa Yi. You know, actual word is Tsangbe Nepa Yi in Tibetan. It says silent.
And you create the four silences, which is the cause of karma.
Actually, you know, the four silent is the four immeasurable. Yeah. Whoever can practice four immeasurable, generate four immeasurable in your heart, you will be born as a Brahma god. Yeah.
Can you explain in Buddha prayer what is Mahasandhi or
I think in our boat prayer, Gelongma Palmo's, I think she must have heard. And this, according to the praise, how Gelongma Palmo praising Chenrezig, saying, you know, the four immeasurable, four, whatever the translation says, four silent, whatever. When Chenrezig's foot noise comes these four immeasurable sound. Yeah, that's. I guess she must have heard that. When Chenrezig make foot movement, so sounds are like may all beings of happiness is kind of coming from there. Yeah.
Can you share the translation that I heard the first time said you make the silence of the retreat exceed the four Brahma states.
She said the translation she heard first time around was you make the silence of retreat
exceed the four Brahma states.
Exceed the four Brahma states. That's what she,
That sounds more closer. So.
yeah.
Gelongma Palmo came from Swat Valley area. You know, Swat Valley is right now in northern Pakistan, and right next to the border of Afghanistan, northern Pakistan. And it's kind of wondering her language, spoken language, what she used, you know. It's amazing, huh? This praise, poor prayer, Gelongma Palmo's spontaneous praise when she had a vision of Chenrezig. Thousand Arm Chenrezig, you know, and it's like amazing, huh? You know, when your mind becomes pure, then pure visions happen. Yeah, it's the meeting of pure phenomena, pure perception, pure manifestation is possible to perceive. So you see, Chenrezig and all these deities and, you know, pure Buddhas, they have, you know, they can come physically too. They have these ability. See, it's a Nirmanakaya form. And once in a while you can have perfect Nirmanakaya form. One such was historical Buddha. Yeah, sublime Nirmanakaya. Then other than that, all the Nirmanakayas are just like anybody else. Physically looks just like anybody else because there's nothing they can do beyond that. If you want to, help people, you have to get down there and, look like one of them type of thing, There's not too much choice about that. Then, whereas like Sambhogakaya, it's a subtle body, Yeah. Subtle body, Sambhogakaya, sometimes is translated as an enjoyment body. It's maybe closer to what it really means. It's, enjoyment body. From Dharmakaya, manifest, Sometimes they translate in English as a body of light. Body of light, maybe subtle, something like that. But actually enjoyment, kaya, enjoyment body is more closer to what it actually really means. Yeah. And it's the subtle body that the Buddhas manifest. Chenrezig, 5 Dhyani Buddha, whatever, all these deities in that. And there's this pure subtle manifestation truly manifest. And then individual practitioners, when their karma becomes pure, all this mind becomes pure, then the pure visions happen. Yeah, and Chenrezig, through, so much spiritual hard work, finally became a pure, and Chenrezig manifested. And then said the Po prayer, and then taught many, many beings. And we're all part of beneficiary of that now, you see? Yeah.
How do we know it's a real pure vision, and how do we know it's a trick?
How do you know if it's a real pure vision or if it's just a trick?
Real vision, real vision, definition of real vision would have to be that your mind really became pure, and then meaning you're an enlightened being now. Yeah. Okay. And then it will not, vision will not depend on any substance or anything else. It's your pure mind, saying. And then these trips things can be maybe momentarily, somehow biochemically, some part of your brain opens up, massive serotonin or something, and temporarily you might be able to feel some extraordinary experiences. Yeah, maybe you could call that a little glimpse of a real vision, perhaps, right? Something like that. Yeah, the trips, probably have most benefit is that you see possibility, beyond just this very rigid, ordinary experience. Otherwise everybody very rigid experience, no feeling, nothing. Everything is so solid, so rigid, so real. If you're angry, it's so raw anger, like that. If you're attached, it's just complete attachment, complete grasping, like that, right? So maybe it will help you to see something a little bit different. I remember when first Ukraine war started, and I was following some of those news and so on, and then what people are saying and so on. And one of the comments that somebody was saying, I remember, was they say, President Putin should do ayahuasca. Meaning, and it will give you a different perspective, the trip that you're talking about, right? So there can be some benefit like that. But it's just a chemical-induced momentary trip, though. Now you have to, if you want to become completely pure being, you have to practice, real Dharma, real purification, necessary. Yeah. We're all on the trip, by the way. Okay, you have it important, otherwise we should start it. Huh?
What is Mahasandhi in the Mahamudra for?
Mahasandhi.
Yeah.
Mahasandhi is Dzogchen.
Mahasandhi.
Mahasandhi, Mahati, Dzogchen. That's a Sanskrit word. Sandhi is Sanskrit word. Great completion.
I know just three kaya, Dharma kaya, and Vesak. There's one. And the fourth one, what is the fourth?
The fourth one? Why you want to know the fourth one? Actually, talk about kaya, many explanations. Three kaya, Dharma kaya, Sambhogakaya, Nirmanakaya, because there's a distinct qualities exist, distinct manifestation exists too, like that too. And then there's a fourth kaya is called, in Sanskrit, it's called Sarvabhavika kaya. Okay? Sarvabhavika. Dharma kaya, Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharma kaya, Sarvabhavika kaya, the fourth kaya. Okay? And the fourth kaya is, in English translation would be something like, you just say, essence kaya. Means there's a union of three. All three together also, Together kaya, so to speak, that it is not separate. One in all, so to speak, So that's the fourth kaya. And that's one way of explaining. And then another way of explaining is two kaya. Two kaya. And two kaya is Dharma kaya, and then